And we are live. Welcome to the H&M Sports Academy. I am Mo, and this is Harry. And we are here today to go over quite a bit of information, quite a bit of content for you today. If this is your first time watching us, certainly appreciate you hopping on. If you are checking this out, the non-live broadcast, please remember to like, share, and subscribe this information. If you are very much a fan of it and you enjoy this content, we are at HM Sports Academy on all of your major platforms: YouTube, X, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So we're excited to be here today. We're going to be doing quite a few things in the NFL to discuss this week's new business. And first, we're going to recap the clash between the Dallas Cowboys, who travel on the road to play the Chicago Bears. And we will also preview the Bears going on the road to play the Raiders, as well as the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Green Bay Packers and all the fanfare that will be going on there. So without further ado, I will introduce my cohort, Harry, who will be traveling on the road to go to Vegas to watch his Bears play the Raiders.
That's right.
Road Warrior. So you grab cloth at home. Now you're getting on the road and going out and trying to get your second victory and get back to 500, right? Bears are 1-2 and trying to get back to 500. So we'll certainly get into that. But the reason you got your first win is because my Cowboys decided to not show up. And they literally got their asses handed to them in a 14-31 loss on the road to the Chicago Bears. Lots of viewers. This one hit about 25 million on Fox here. So
crazy numbers.
We clearly know that the fans are out here. Big numbers. And so this is why we cover these teams, because we know the markets are large. We know the fans that follow us large. And we hope that you are going to be here with us to enjoy this broadcast. And as we grow this channel here in the future and continue to give you good information and good content at the HM Sports Academy. So I want to jump into this because we got a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to be first getting into the recap of this game. So we're going to get into the first, kind of the overall synopsis of what you saw. Give me a quick snapshot here. You we looked at this game and kind of captured it before we get into the various quarters. What did you see? What kind of jumped out at you when you looked at this game and kind of recapped this game?
Yeah, I know we hit on. I was driving into work, and you're always kind of thinking about what we're going to talk. I'm always thinking about what we're going to talk about, and I was like, damn, man, we really hit on everything. That kind of came into fruition, right? You saw a desperate Bears team come out really aggressive at the start of the kickoff of the game. The Flus storyline was huge and it was big, right? And I think the big piece is what we talked about. We knew our defenses kind of limped in, right? We got two duct tape defenses kind of hanging on. And the big thing that I really wanted to see, I was like, this is a game where Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams have to carry us through, because we just don't have the bodies to, keep up with you guys. And at the beginning of the game, it looked that way, right? You guys are running it right down our throat. We talked about some opportunistic turnovers too, right? Some feast to famine. We had a early feast with Stevenson stripping that ball from Williams, man. Yeah, it comes off. He's 30 yards down the field, and he runs, alongside him and takes the ball away. And we stole a possession right out the gate, right? Because you guys turned us over on 3-and-out on our first series, and you guys were clicking. So I think that actually got us into a rhythm, and this was the first time that I really saw Ben Johnson settle in and call a game at his pace, where he wasn't chasing, where it wasn't the stress of kind of what was going on around him, trying to react to it. Our running game wasn't where it needed to be, but he looked totally in command with the pass and attack. And we talked. That was the other piece I want to talk about, which was, Flus. I'm gonna start calling Flus the quarterback healer. We'll see what he does here against Love, but
yeah,
it wasn't a lot of exotic looks initially, and I felt like Caleb got in a really good rhythm early on, and our offensive line held up pretty well. So, from a recap standpoint, we got a chance to get off to what I call a very fast start, jump out ahead, and that gave us, a chance for our defense to do exactly what we talked about again, which was now we took away that second element, which is running the football. You guys had to abandon it after that third quarter, and we took control at that point and kind of closed it out to a 31-14 victory.
Yeah. Lots to go over, and we'll get into some of the details for sure. But there's a nice recap, kind of how the game kind of got out of hand. Seemed like a very competitive contest early on, but you had some injuries that happened, so we'll get into that. We had some mistakes that happened and some blown coverages, and then things kind of got out of control. And even when the game seemed like it could have been still competitive, it just was not to be. So let's jump into the first quarter here. And let's kind of give a little bit of a snapshot here. You're going into the first quarter. I think the Chicago Bears got the ball first and received the kickoff and kind of stalled. I think Caleb had a guy open.
We had Loveland open on off of play action and missed them, and then we just had two kind of dud plays, and we went 3 and out pretty quickly on that first drive.
3 and out. You had
complete opposite of how we started the other games too, right? Because against Minnesota, we came. That was one of the things we were talking about, our fast starts, the
scripted plays. Yeah, that's
scripted. Right. And we kind of screwed the pooch on that one and got the ball right back to you guys. And what I really saw, I was very concerned, man. You guys, I want to say Williams was at like 7.6 a pop, man. He was hammering up in there. You guys, the offensive line looked great for you guys, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Field was tilted, and
early
that turnover. I watched Williams go around that left edge, and he gets by the defensive end, he sneaks by the corner. And Stevenson, that was just a hustle play. He was coming off, and we talked about him too, right? Just that against Detroit, it was a 158.3 completion, QBR rating when throwing at him. And this week, he heard me and he turned it right on, man. He came in and sprinted and hustled back into the play, and he steals the ball, keeps himself in bounds, and went out of bounds, reestablished himself. Get the ball and that
could have been player of the game, man. It could have been player of the game. So you're looking at from a Dallas perspective, you have the Eagles game in which they run a similar play off the left side, and Sanders is running and he breaks open and he has a touchdown if he can just get away from Bond and he gets caught. And then there's a fumble, and that touchdown gets scored. So here you are, same situation against Chicago. You're coming off the left side. You just made a stop, and you're driving. You're already in field goal range easily, and in position to score. And all of a sudden, you turn the ball over again. And I almost can't even get mad at Williams because he's got the ball in his outside arm, unlike Sanders did. He's running with protection. He just didn't see him coming. And honestly, the amount of balance it took to steal the ball from a tough running back and keep your feet in bounds and get down before you fall out of bounds, man, you can do that play 5 times, 50 times, and he probably will get out of bounds or won't get the ball in time, or and it just lined up beautifully, and that was a huge play right there.
It shows to again, the sense of urgency, right? I call that a sense of urgency play.
Desperation.
Sure, desperation. I'm sure when they ran that back in the film room, Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson singled, Stevenson out and let them know that that's how we want to play football, man. Even when you're losing, you're winning, right?
That's
and
right.
As long as you give an effort, you never know what can happen. And I think from my perspective, with that type of kind of mentality, it allowed, like I said, these other guys, we talk about that all the time too. These other guys get paid too, right? Williams.
That's right.
Unfortunate for him, he was running so fast and so hard, and he was right up against the sideline. So I don't even think his mindset, because normally as a running back, you kind of feel it.
He had protection with the sideline being there out of bounds. He just didn't even think anybody could come from behind.
Right. I don't even think he felt him at all, and it was just that perfect moment of your ball, of your arm swinging, and everything had to go right. And it did. Yeah. And I'm unfortunately for you, I'm glad it did, because I was like, I don't think we're gonna be able to stop you guys running the football. And I think if that play doesn't happen, I think Shotty continues to lean into that running game, right?
And he probably doesn't. And he probably doesn't give the ball to CeeDee Lamb in the backfield either, because of the way he's running, which changed the game also. And this is how this is a game of inches. Mm-hmm. You run by a guy like Stevens like that, and then you think you're in the clear. Chris Carter used to call this a where they think they at play, right? Because he's like, you in the NFL, man, you gonna run by somebody, and because you got by them, you think that they done disappeared off the earth and they went left watch TV or something, bro. They right behind you. Where do you think they at?
Yeah, go.
You know what I'm saying? And so I love that, bro, because in college or in high school, you run by that guy, you can X him off the list. He gonna fall down, he ain't gonna get back up. This the NFL, bro. They coming right back behind you.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, because David Montgomery in the Monday night game, man, he used to be a former Bear, and that was one of the things that, and he's a great running back, but he never had long speed.
Great running
back. He breaks out, and somebody on X, they were like, yeah, man, he looked like a damn gazelle looked like a water buffalo getting chased by cheetahs out there, man. He looking on the big screen. And this is a world-class running back, man. He looking around. He 20 yards down the field, man, in full stride, and they chasing him down. I was like, unreal. Gracious, man. But yeah,
and look,
back to our game. I think that was
Derek.
That was
the same thing. Same thing happened to. And the same thing happened to Derrick Henry in that game where Hutchinson he got past Hutchinson, and Hutchinson came back and punched it out. He couldn't even believe that it happened. It's like, bro, you think that guy's gone? He's right behind you. You have to account for that. So, big play.
But hey, he got them sleeves on, man. You got me. I won't even let my own son. He came in the other day. I want to wear a sleeve, Daddy.
Bro.
Get that silk stuff off your arms, brother. Take it off immediately.
This is where our Naval Academy education come in. I got the coefficient of friction here. I'm doing the math. I'm like, nah, bro. Leather on cloth not gonna work. So no, we're not gonna go to too much up an aside on that. We'll talk about that another day.
He's a double sleeve guy too.
Yeah. So then you get that, and then the first out of the gate. You have Chicago getting the ball back, and now you got a sudden change. So you got Diggs at the top of the key against Rome Odunze, and Diggs is on a man-to-man situation. And he's a pretty good man-to-man guy, so he decides he wants to go bump and run. He wants to go physical with Rome Odunze.
I gotta ask you, and I hate to cut you off, but that, first of all, his stance, he staggered his stance like he's Deion Sanders. He missed the punch.
Yeah.
He never had a shot.
Yeah.
I don't even know what.
He overshot the punch. He lunged on it.
Yeah, I know you guys aren't coaching that technique, and it was terrible.
It felt like he went on his own on that, because no one else was on a man was in a type of bump and run coverage. And so, and the thing that was so bad about it is he couldn't get any safety help over the top, because he let him free release outside, and you need to use the outside boundary as a defender, but not if you're going to get beat so bad that he still has room. You're supposed to crowd him so he has nowhere to run. He did all of that wrong.
Yeah. So
and he
what we
let
were
Rome
trying to
get
do
on top
there,
of him.
yeah, what we were trying to do there was really just, improve our field goal position. And that was a drive concept.
Yeah, that was
And
3rd and 8.
that was a 3rd and 8. And on the outside, not to get too technical, we had a comeback on Caleb's right side to to either Zacchaeus, not Zacchaeus, it was to DJ. And then on the front side, it was going to be another comeback route to kind of mirror it, to try to get us a first down. And when Diggs missed that jam, Odunze pizza manned him. And this is what we talk about arm strength. Caleb threw a body ball from about 40 yards. And again, the former quarterback in me, as the casual fan, you're like, yeah, that's an easy throw. Nah, man, he put that ball on the line, on a rope, and it looked bad when he got beat, and it looks like it's a lot of space. But you and I both know in the game of inches, he got that ball on him so quick, it was over, right? So we go up 7-0 off what I call just and you guys, we talked about it before again last week, which was not giving up the big play, and that felt like a cheap one, right? We stole that touchdown just off bad technique by Diggs. And I know, what's his name? The comedian who's been all over Diggs here lately. I know you know him. I forget his name.
Bubba Dub.
Bubba Dub was.
Is it Bubba Dub?
He gave Bubba Dub some more content.
Some more ammunition. It sure did.
Some more ammo, because I looked at the technique and I'm like, that's probably the worst tape as far as just bump and run that I've seen in a long time. That was just bad fundamentals.
And here's the thing, Harry. Diggs only got thrown at one other time in the game. He's not a bad cornerback, or no, he's an excellent cornerback. But you picked a terrible time to try to go bump and run and put your guys on the island on 3rd and 8 when you could have just paid off coverage. And I'm telling you, Caleb wasn't looking for him. He threw that because he was so wide open. But Caleb wasn't. Like you said, I'm
gonna push back on the other side. I'm gonna push back on it. He put Zacchaeus in motion. He identified man coverage. So I think he did initially looking. He put him in. He identified the man coverage. But you're right. I don't think that was his initial read to throw it to Rome. I really think he was looking again, like you say, to try to get a little bit of a first down yardage on that drive concept with a little a drag and an end behind it. Yeah. But after he knew it was man, and then you guys had a single high safety on the right hash, right? Yeah. So you didn't even have anybody over the top. Yeah. So Donovan, it's almost like he couldn't miss him.
That's right.
And it was just a really strong throw, and like I say, a cheap 7, right? When you really think about it, how it happened.
Cheap 7. So here you are. You had the Cowboys driving and running the ball with conviction. And it goes from running the ball to conviction and in scoring position to giving up a bomb on the other end, and it's a 7. That's at least a 10-point swing, probably not a 14-point swing right there, right? And so you had a stop, you let them off the hook on that aspect, and now the Cowboys get the ball, they move, they drive down the field, and I think they kick a field goal. So now it's 7-3.
Yeah.
Right. So they go down the field.
We got a big
7-3.
Yeah, we got a big stop. You guys were driving, and I think it was like a 3rd and 6, and you guys got 4, and ended up taking it was almost a 50-yard kick or so. And your boy Aubrey, man, came in there just smooth, kicked it right through, and that Chicago wind just right through the uprights. So 7-3 game.
Yep. 7-3. So Chicago gets the ball back, first quarter, moving along. And then here we go again with Ben Johnson saying, hey, I got a lead. Let's go after these guys. And he goes with a flea flicker, right? So he dials up a flea flicker. And, the couple of coaching points quickly on this point, on this play. Mozzie Smith was the defensive tackle in that play. He was very close to tackling the running back, Swift, on that play. He got to him, but he couldn't get to him enough to get him down. And the ball that Swift tossed back to Caleb was so weak. Oh my God, it was so bad. And I can tell you in the NFL, when you try to do a flea flicker and you can't get a smooth pitch back to the quarterback is usually donezo. I mean, it's usually a disaster.
Throws the timing off.
But the Cowboys were so beat and so bad on defense, he still had time to get back there and settle in and find out what was going on. I do not understand how the safeties for the Cowboys actually bit on that as though there was some type of crack run block 15 yards down the field.
Well,
what did they think they were looking at?
So what happened was Ben said he had found this in tape the last 2 games that you guys played, and he said he found it in studying the Bears defense last year that Flus was running. I think some of it is just the
habits,
the principles of that defense against the eye, right? We motion into the eye. And I think automatically that safety has certain, fundamentals and certain points that he's supposed to be playing at a yardage and at a depth. And Zacchaeus came over from the right side and almost like a deep over. And then you had Luther Burden, who came out and they call it a lolly, where he lollygagged a little bit and ran a post corner, man. And he took off full speed. It's almost like the mesh point of those 2 routes. It requires you to make a quick decision. And if you hesitate and don't go with that lolly with Burden, then that's what happens. He hesitated for a second. And when you talk about, again, I saw real time watching it. I was like, what the hell kind of, pitch back was that? Because it was it looked like a power sweep that guys are running now where you pitch it to them and they just kind of crash into the line. So that's a quick play. He runs into the line and then he loops it back out like an alley-oop almost.
So terrible, man. Bad.
So terrible. And Caleb catches it without the laces and ripped it
Still has
70
time.
yards. Right.
Still has time.
On that play, go back and watch. And this is where effort. Go back and watch Swift and exactly what you said. He pitched the ball and then went and found Mozzie and actually got a piece of him. Right?
Just enough
to slow him down. And Caleb caught that thing, man, and he ripped it. And at that time, I'm sitting in my room, and you sat there when we, you know what it looks like, and I about jumped through the window, man. I went taking off. Oh my God! Chicago, as Bears fans, this is why you get a guy like Ben Johnson, right? Full attack mode, going after, the defense and making sure we try to, let's steal another one, and that's the second touchdown. That's the second steal of the game, really, right? Luther Burden catches it in stride, all hands at the receiver, and me melted just seeing him catch that ball.
So here you are.
He scampers in the end zone. We're up 14-3.
14, you're up 14-3, and also starting to look like, okay, Cowboys in a little bit of trouble here. And so they get back on offense. Now they're moving the ball, and they put CD in the backfield, and they run a play to him. The defender steps on his ankle. That's a tough play. Sometimes you can call it a hip drop play. It's a little bit of a dangerous play. And so to add insult to the injury, he got no yards on the play, and the Cowboys got a holding call, so it was a negative play all the way around. On top of the injury, it just was like, if I'm shoddy, if I'm running the offense on that, I'm not going to run that type of play to put CD in the backfield. Yeah, if you're going to do like an end around, kind of a sweep type situation, that thing, so forth, jet sweep type situation. Yeah, I can do that. But you put him in the backfield like you dotting the I. You know what I'm saying? Like this is USC, John Robinson, right? So like, what are we doing here, man? Like, and oh, by the way, the Cowboys are running the football with conviction. This isn't like, hey, man, we need a spark. This is the third quarter. We're struggling. Bro, you're running downhill with your running back. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Nobody's tired. It made no sense to me to run it in that play. And I get it. Anything can happen on any play. But the guy is just not built to be in the backfield like that. And so you risk that. You put your guy at risk. Yeah, it was a hip drop. Okay, great. Yeah, it was a hold. Okay, great. But to me, the thing you can control is their play selection. And I don't think that was a smart play. So CD's out. So now you're looking at a situation where Dennis Allen is licking his chops because he's saying we wanted the double CD. Now we don't have to do that. We can just stay on top, and it changes everything. So now all of a sudden the Cowboys are in a situation where they're trying to run the ball, and then they're trying to feature Pickens, and then now Ferguson is going to get it. So he's starting to get his touches. They move, and they put a nice drive together. And I think at this point, Chicago's still trying to figure out how the Cowboys are going to adjust. They don't know what what the situation is going to look like. Yeah. And Dallas is able to put together a drive, score a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion, right? Yeah.
Oh,
because
they
had, I think, they had actually kicked a field goal. So it was 14-6 at this time.
14-6.
They kicked
right.
the 14-6. They scored a touchdown off of Pickens, and then get the 2-point conversion, and so now you got a 14-14, and at that point it felt like the Cowboys had dodged a bullet at that point, right? And so you have that situation there, and so then you're going into the second quarter. You're already in the second quarter now, and it's 14-14. CD's out, and
we get the ball back. The Bears got the ball back at that point. The Swift. Yeah. Third and 8.
They kicked the field goal.
And that's what I was saying. It's 3rd and 8. And
on 3rd and 8.
We got a huge screen to Swift. I don't know who, I think his name is Murray, man. He had a rough day for you guys. Linebacker 59. Got his eyes out of position.
Yeah.
Ben gave him a little eye candy. I ran a cross face screen. And had a drag in front of it, and I think he lost him for a split second, and that turned into almost like a 40-50 yard screen pass to put us in position. You guys end up stiffening up, and Caleb throws a dot to it came out his hand funny. They talked about it on the broadcast to Rome in the end zone, and the safety came and this and knocked it out, dislodged the ball. That's his fourth drop, and I love Rome. I think he's one of the top receivers in the NFL. He's growing. We got to make that catch. That would have been a touchdown number 5 for Caleb on the day, but he drops that.
This is a hard hitter. One thing is about Dono.
He is, but it's also when you talk about, and this is what I love too, right? And we played the game. It was an aggressive play on 3rd and I want to say 12 or so, and Rome runs it was a really good call play, really good concept. And you're right, Dallas gets paid too, and ball hit him right in his hands, and Wilson put a pretty good stick on him and knocked it out, dislodged it. To your point, I was actually kind of thinking along the same lines as you, like, man, we had all this energy, you guys survived it. You guys were in great shape, 14-7 with the ball with about 4 minutes left to go into the into your next series.
14-17.
Right? Yeah, 14-17.
That's right.
Yeah. So, you guys get that.
That's when you texted me and said, "I hope we haven't emptied our bag out." You said, "I hope we haven't emptied our clip," because you're like, "Man, we didn't flea flickered and went up top and all this other stuff. We got a fumble, we got everything going, and we look up, we only up by 3, and the Cowboys got the ball with a chance to go up." And instead of that, you don't have CD in the game, and you go 3 and out with the 2 minutes, right around the 2-minute mark, and give the ball back to Chicago and let them drive down. And now this is what happened to y'all last week against Detroit.
Right?
Yeah. You had a chance to close the gap, and instead you give the ball back to them and they drive down. Tesla gets the catch to give them a few 6 seconds, and then you go up. Instead of you closing the gap, you go down even more, 2 scores, right?
Well, this is the thing.
Same thing happened.
And I think to your point, the having Ben Johnson and having his ability to get the team to understand, we milked the clock and ran it down and ran that to perfection, right? We got to, I want to say midfield, and we actually started slowing down. We had 3 timeouts. We were pretty in pretty good shape. And Caleb throws probably his best ball of the day to Luther Burden, man. It was a great drawn up concept. Had DJ run about 10, 15 and sit right across the middle. Murray, jumps it a little bit. The safety jumps a little bit, and Caleb layers that post and deep over. It was more like a deep over to Luther Burden in a very tight window. He catches it, man. It gets right to the 10-yard line, and we call timeout, and it goes from us, trying to milk the clock to now. Yeah, we can go and get in this end zone. We got 2 timeouts, and we're probably sitting on the 12 or so yard line, I think. So, long story short,
on top of the fact that
Ben, you talk about. I did text you. I'm like, man, I hope we haven't went out of our bag. I hope we haven't ran out of tricks. And old Ben went in and got that trash bag, and he got a big old Army duffel, one of them big old Navy duffel bags. Man, he dig in there.
Yeah.
Showed you guys a 2 tight end set on the strong side. Give you a little eye candy. Again, number 59 Murray. We put a little play fake on him, just enough to catch his eyes, and then you get Cole Kmet flows right behind him, wide open, nobody within 5 yards, and we go up at that point 24-14 right before the half.
Yeah, that was a tough situation there, and then on top of that, Shoddy had 1 timeout. I don't know what he was doing, but he took a timeout. He took a timeout when y'all had 3, and I'm like, dude, we need to say that timeout in case they score, they have something left to try to get a field goal or something. So the Cowboys got the ball with 25 seconds left, didn't even have enough time to get in field goal range because they didn't have any time stoppages of the clock. So, poor play there. You go into halftime. So you're down 14-24, or the Bears are up 24-14, whichever way you want to look at it. You come out third quarter. You have the Cowboys basically stall on a drive, and once again, you have your tackle Guyton give up a sack. It was 2nd and 5, and he gives up a sack, and now it's 3rd and 15. And so you got to hold your water right there because you need to drive and close the gap and get some points out of this drive. And instead, you do that. You kick it off to Chicago, and then they commence to going on what basically was a 10-minute drive that just was a series of misdirections, off-tackle plays, excellent execution plays. Just kept the Cowboys off balance the entire time. A lot of runs. So frustrating.
And I think that drive to close the half and then couple it with this drive in the third quarter, we basically, killed the whole third quarter. At one point, we had 11 straight runs, right? And we're still trying to find our way running the ball. We're top 10 offense as of today. We're top 13 offense as of today. But, from a running standpoint, we just haven't been our best, right? I think Swift's averaging less than 4 yards a carry, which isn't great. And we threw Monangai, our running back out of Rutgers, a little bit in that drive, and we really got into a rhythm. It wasn't like we were gashing you for large runs. It was enough to. It was already a kind of a deflated defense, I think, and I think that drive was just the culmination of, man, we can't get off the field. It was frustrating. Ben did dial up, a couple of quarterback option, zone reads and some option plays at Caleb. He dialed up too. We just talked about those jet touch passes and a couple of reverses to Luther Burden and Zacchaeus to keep you off balance. And to cap it all off, we go for it on 4th down, and we actually go we go 5 wide, and the front side of the play was where we were supposed to go. And it showed Caleb's maturation, man. And he really went through his progressions. DJ Moore was the final read of that progression. And his ability to, elongate the play. He stepped up in the pocket, you guys put a spy on Caleb. I don't know why Flukes. We talked about you needing a spy against the Eagles in game, the first game on that critical situation. And that's in that moment, I didn't feel like a spy was necessary. I would rather play it a little differently because it eliminated right in the middle of the field. You don't have to layer the ball over anybody, right? And as soon as he stepped up, it just created a huge open window. And DJ Moore found his way. He's standing right next to the goalpost, wide open. And Caleb ripped it, man. And he basically, the ball caught DJ Moore. It hits him in the chest. He just holds on to it. and we go up 31-14 off a 19 play, 9-minute and 54 drive for 76 yards.
Yeah, tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
At that
I hate
point,
I had to recap. I see your face. I'm sorry I had to recap it. You have to hear it.
It's just the reality of it is just you're looking at it and you're like, that middle portion of the game is really where it was lost at. The failure to get a stop right before halftime, and then the failure in the third quarter to get off the field, and then the failure on the offense and it's just you need one of those things to go back in your favor. You either getting a stop or getting a score to stay within striking range going into the fourth quarter. And then you go and then it felt like every time the Cowboys were getting close to putting something together for a drive, it was a turnover. So you had already had one turnover. You get into the fourth quarter, you're driving again, you're already down 17 points. And, Pickens, who's got sure-handed, the one thing he does is he got some mitts, he can catch it. And the ball's right to him, and it just tips off of his hand and lands right into
Tremaine Edmonds.
Edmonds' hands, and so Tremaine Edmonds is sitting there, and you got a Bears defense who's been scuffling and struggling, and all of a sudden they create turnovers, balls kind of falling in their play and stuff, and so that's a tough situation because there's a game-changing swings. A turnover right there prevents a possible touchdown. You had another turnover at the beginning of the game that could present another possible touchdown. If those are touchdowns, it's not a 17-point game; it's a 3-point game. And that's the game that we play that we love, and you can look at the final score and it looks so lopsided. But there's so many positions. The Cowboys led in time of possession, led in rushing. And held the Bears in a good space, stopping the run, and had nothing to show for it. Literally have nothing to show for it because of turnovers. Turnovers is an equalizer, and it can kill you. And if you can convert turnovers into points, it's even worse. So at that point, this game's out of hand. You're going into the fourth quarter. You've bled the clock out with the third quarter. So now we talked about the turnover, and at that point, I think. Your coach Ben Johnson is really saying, "Hey, look, let's just not screw this up. Let's get out of here, get this dub, and we're not going to put the ball in harm's way or nothing like that." And it really, that's to me what the fourth quarter was. I mean, the Cowboys drove down. Dak had a chance to score, and once again, he throws an interception in the end zone. But you're 3rd and 1 on the goal line. Just hand the ball off to the running back. Run it in. Run it in, but you're trying to save precious time and throw it in, and the Bears was playing you for it. Just run it in.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I was just kind of I threw the stats up here, and I think what you're talking here is situational football, right? And sometimes you and I both know there are times within the game where you kind of get lost within the game, and I think that was one of those moments where you guys were trying to score quick, and sometimes we connect scoring quick to throwing the football when really running it in is just as quick, if not quicker.
It's just as quick. A yard or 2
outs. So
that scoring period is still better than scoring quick. Like you want to do both things, but before you can score quick, you need to score period. Right. And so I wouldn't have even, to be honest, even though the Cowboys were down 17 points, I even wouldn't have been mad if they had just kicked a chip shot field goal and said, just take the points, because at least you got you're 2 scores down. It was like 8 minutes left in the game. Hey, look, a little pressure. Stranger things have happened. You get, you know, if you get a stop right there, maybe with 6 or 7 minutes or 6 or 5 minutes, you go score. You still you're down 1 score. If you're down 1 score with 3 minutes left in the game with 2 timeouts, you're in a much better position than most people thought you would be, right? And so,
and you guys have seen us collapse against Minnesota 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks prior. So in the back of our minds, that's an added stress level that we probably don't want to be dealing with, right? So
you never know. Maybe you make a mistake. You throw it. The quarterback is rushing or something, anything. But you can't do that if you don't actually put the points up and do something. So, opportunities lost there. And I think
I'm looking at the third down conversions too, and it kind of piggybacks to what you said around just some of the execution and, a little bit smarter play calling. You guys were 3 of 11. We were 8 of 14. Time of possession, 32 minutes to 27. And then, first down, some of that might have been attributed to, you guys playing catch up in the end. But from an offensive standpoint, it didn't feel like you guys were completely inept out there. I think we got a chance to make you one-dimensional.
No.
And, the game got out of hand to where we can actually, get after the passer a little bit. And Dennis Allen started to dial up some couple of blitzes, right? Got home.
Why not? You may as well.
You threw some timing off on some of the routes. And, I think that added to some of the chaos, what I call, and the non rhythm that you might have had in that second half with your play calling. So
so let's wrap this up. 31-14. Just a quick snapshot for you. You come out of this game with a W.
Mm-hmm.
Just do you feel like this is the Bears turn the corner? Do you feel like the Cowboys was just a bad team? Maybe a little bit of both. Still some growing pains, but still, what do you think?
Yeah, you guys are. I've been joking and kind of laughing with some of the Cowboy fans and friends of mine. You guys are definitely not a bad team. I think we hit on all of these different things, man. The Bears, even though our losses are going to age well, right? You saw Minnesota go and smack Cincinnati. I know they didn't have Burrow, and then you see, how well Detroit goes and smacks the Ravens, and now everybody looks up and they like, instead of laughing at us and snickering, now we're starting to see how good those two teams are, right? So we were finding our way against two tough teams. I saw the growth from Minnesota to Detroit, and I think against the Cowboys, what we talked about with Fluce's defense. It allowed us to get into a rhythm. It's a little bit more static. It's not as dynamic as what Flores is doing and constantly changing that picture. Detroit kind of in a similar mode with Hutchinson. You see how they can get off get after the quarterback, and Muhammad, man. We actually had Muhammad for the Bears, and good God, man, he's playing.
Good looking player, man.
Yeah, he looks like a totally different guy. So I say all that to say, I think we turned the corner with Caleb, where his feet married up to his eyes and the game slowed down. This is probably the most confident I've seen him, throwing. And the command, the thing that I really love was him getting in and out of the huddle. I might have saw maybe 2, maybe 3 plays where I felt like we were kind of rushing and not as buttoned up as we want to be as far as getting to the line of scrimmage. But all of our pre-snap motions, all of our formations, everything looked crisp. And our offensive line blocked really well, man. So, again, we spent a ton of money on that offensive line. This is our 3rd game together. So you started to see some protections that married up and worked out really well for us. Caleb, this is his first game here where he didn't get sacked. That helps. And then you throw in the fact that this was the first game I really think Ben Johnson got into a great rhythm where he wasn't in a situation where he felt like he couldn't call certain plays or certain schemes or certain things weren't working. This felt like the first game where he felt like his full playbook or whatever that full install for this game was at his disposal. And we saw a different play caller than we saw, a more confident play caller in 18 than we saw, at any time. So now I'm on the road. Vegas, here we come.
Yep.
Here we come, Vegas. I need luck be a lady be a luck tonight.
Let's jump in.
Need my support.
Let's jump into Bears Raiders. Raiders coming off a loss to Washington Commanders. They kind of reeling a little bit, and you got the Bears just coming off of a little bit of a high. They're getting on the road. So the Raiders looking to kind of get back on track. Bears looking to maintain and get back to 500. Talk to me a little bit when you see the Bears offense and what they look like when they're going up against the Raiders. Talk to me about the Bears offense.
Oh man, so I'm feeling really good about the offense. Again, I kind of touched on that from a running the ball standpoint. I felt like we found a little bit of an identity. Running the football wasn't perfect, but we started to see some continuity with our offensive line and our running backs. I'm very pleased with the wide receivers, and Antoine Randall L came over from Detroit. We look like a totally different receiving core, from last year. We got a lot of different kind of pieces, and Rome taking that next step. I think we can have a lot of success against this Raiders secondary. They're not really intimidating on the back end. I think on the front end, we got Max Crosby we got to deal with. But outside of that, I think we should be able to, play a clean and confident game against the Raiders if we execute like we're supposed to.
Yeah, and the Raiders D is, not necessarily star-studded. I mean, they got a couple of names on there. I would say the biggest name is Max Crosby, their edge rusher. Yeah. So he's definitely a force. He's one of the top, probably 5 defensive ends in the league. So he's definitely, that's who you have to circle on your scouting report. They got Devin White, who's a veteran, been around for a long time, the ex-Tampa. And so you have him out there. So he's got leadership, and Pete Carroll's trying to grow this team. So trying to get it back on track and get to where he has the right type of personnel. So I think that it should be a good matchup. I think that the Raiders are sound defensively. They seem to they play hard and stuff. They'll play well in that aspect. I don't know if they're the most talented defense out there. So it's going to be interesting to see if Caleb can take another step against them and go in another direction. Probably maybe a little bit more sound than the Cowboys are right now, but maybe a little less talented. I don't know. So
it's tough.
6-1, half dozen other. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's tough. I was watching them versus the Commanders, and I think you saw them versus the Chargers, and we kind of saw some similar things. They struggle to stop the run. They aren't great against the pass, and I think the reality of what schematically what they're trying to do, which is that cover 3, Seattle defense that Carroll brought, to Vegas. I don't think they have the length at the corner. I don't think they have the intimidators at linebacker and at safety to really enforce. Guys catching the ball and you come up drilling them, and up front they feel a little bit, kind of light. And you saw the Commanders and you saw the Chargers take advantage of that. I'm not going to say we from a running standpoint, we're nowhere near those 2 teams. So styles make fights. We might not be as aggressive in a sense, and we might not be able to dictate the terms the way those two teams did. But I think if we stick to the run game and use some play action, and Caleb continues to take care of the football, which is his hallmark. A lot of people give him a lot of crap about his style of play, but let me knock on wood. He takes care of the football, and I think we'll be in good shape to have a good showing against that defense.
Okay, sounds good. I think you're kind of hitting on the major points there for sure. What about on the other side? You got the Bears defense, got some players out licking some wounds a little bit, but they came off of a pretty spirited performance. So what do they look like against the Raiders offense? You're talking about some of the personnel that they have, and what do you think about the Bears? How the Bears defend the Raiders?
Man, decisions, right? We got Kyler Gordon. I think he's healthy enough to come back this week. But we got a bye week following this game, right? And he's coming off a hamstring.
Early bye week,
right. So if we can get by the Raiders and get him healthy, obviously that would be ideal. But in NFL, I kind of thought about it and I said, you can't take anything for granted, man. If he's up and ready to go, that'll be a great addition to get him back up and playing. We got to get this thing to 2-2 going into the bye. TJ Edwards also. He re-injured that hamstring that he hurt in camp. against the Lions. I'm hearing he might be able to go. I think he probably will sit, right? I think Kyler Gordon goes, which gives us a huge added element on the at the nickel. And Grady Jarrett, he was hobbled, man. I was watching him on the during the game, and you can tell he's not right, but he's given us great effort. I think another week he probably felt a little bit better than what he felt, last week on that knee. But defensively, I think we match up well. They don't have Thornton is breaking out at wide receiver for the Raiders. They got another guy, a little smaller guy, 5'8" Tucker, who's playing really well. But again, I think Dennis Allen attacks that offensive line. That Vegas offensive line has not meshed well. They gave up a ton of sacks. Genty is struggling to find some open running lanes, and then Geno Smith is has been sped up and hasn't been playing his best football behind that offensive line. So we got to take advantage of that. We kind of broke out a little bit against you guys with a pass rush.
I hear Brock Bowers is out too.
It really?
I heard that Brock Bowers is limited. He's not out, but he's limited.
Yeah. But they just lost Mayer too. So Mayer is out. Mayer had a concussion or something. So their second tight end has already been ruled out. Yeah. So that's certainly one of the things there. Yeah. The Tucker has been a godsend for them. Matter of fact, in fantasy, people are bidding for him right now because he's starting to put up numbers. So you know how that is. They follow with the money on that, right? So it's gonna be interesting to see if Genty can give you anything, if Geno could do anything. Geno's a very sound quarterback, so he's not gonna screw it up unless you force him to. So okay. That sounds like a good competition there. The Raiders O versus the Bears D and vice versa. So special teams, the Raiders bring a very good kicker. So he's pretty nails. He's pretty money. One of the better kickers in the league. Carlson is. So you definitely got to keep him out of range if you want to keep him off the board, because he can get you can nickel and dime no pun intended with threes. But outside of that, any particular special teams nuggets? Yeah, I think for us, I would pay attention to. We're trying to work Luther Burden and get him as many touches as we can. Right, when you make plays, this was his first game. He went over 100 yards last week against the Cowboys. We have him back there on the kickoff return, so I think we try to sneak him back there again and try to get us some explosive, getting us an explosive or two off the kickoff. Cairo Santos was nails last week, but nothing challenging. Bunch of short field goals, I think, that he put through the uprights. And our punter actually,
imagine saying that in the same sentence.
Right. And we didn't punt too much against you guys. And when we did, I felt like it was. We had a holding penalty where, again, I'm not Richie Hightower. I'm still not feeling great about our special teams unit. And the other piece is, we talk about it, the Midwest to West Coast trip. We open up as dogs in that game on Monday. Ben Johnson, being the consummate professional, he immediately comes, running to the mic, talking about how we disrespected, I can't believe it. We opened up dogs after that performance. So we read the bulletin board material, the vaunted 1 and 2 Chicago Bears being underdogs is disrespect. So that's how we taking it in Hallis Hall, man. So
that's how we're doing it. Y'all didn't believe in us, huh?
You don't believe in us?
Coach and Matt. The coaches, you got the wily vet and Pete Carroll, 74 years old, spry. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the new kid on the block, the fresh face, Ben Johnson, looking like corporate America out there. You know what I'm saying? So. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with the coaching matchups and some of that. Do you see any nuggets there when it comes to the coaching?
I do. I always give Pete Carroll the ultimate respect, man. I like Pete a lot. I think he's been, um, a consummate, again, professional and a high level coach for a very long time at multiple different levels. He keeps his team highly competitive, right? So if we think we're gonna roll in here and Vegas and the Raiders are gonna be feeling sorry for themselves, you're sadly mistaken. He's gonna have them ready to go and ready to compete and bounce back. And I think his ability to break down film and find some weaknesses and what we do offensively, he's gonna challenge us there. So on the other hand, Ben Johnson, he's man. When you talk about what he brings to the table, this is the first time the Chicago Bears have seen modern day football. Passing the ball, the concepts look clean. We got guys running, and I'm serious. We got a lot of guys running, wide open just off of what I call the schematics. Right? He's one of the best in attacking defenses, and again, I think. If my guess is correct, I really think that that Cowboys loss is not going to look so bad as he starts to get a hold of some of these other defenses, because the marriage, and you talk about the left brain right brain marriage between Caleb and Ben. What you have now is a wild mad scientist, technical guy who's calling these plays. And he has everything at his disposal because his quarterback can make all the plays. He just needs to get him to where, he sees the game the way Caleb plays the game the way he sees it, right? And be okay with some of the coloring outside the lines. And he mentioned that in the press conference. He was like, I used to feel a lot of pressure on calling the perfect play. And he said, with Caleb, I'm starting to understand that I have a little bit more flexibility where the play doesn't have to be perfect, because he can also find some ways to, bring out the best in a play that might not be the best for that defense, against that defense, or against certain situations where I don't think the ball can fit. He can fit it in there. So I say all that to say, is there a huge advantage one way or the other? I'm going to say no right now. I'm going to give Pete Carroll his respect. He's a championship Super Bowl winning coach. This is game.
Could be a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, he will be. And Ben Johnson. Yeah, and Ben Johnson is in his third game. So I'm a push or a slight nod to Pete Carroll.
Okay. I respect that. I certainly see that. Carroll can certainly. Ben Johnson can certainly dial it up. But if they don't execute it correctly, Carroll will take advantage of it and stuff like that. So he's definitely got that, and he's already had to play some high leverage games. So we're looking at this game, it's kind of saying, winners, losers. Okay, if the Bears win, what does that look like? What do they have to do if they plan on winning this game? What does that look like?
It's a continuation, I think, of our offensive line playing high level football and keeping Caleb clean. So if we can run the ball and keep Caleb clean, I think you'll see another, high quality offensive output day. Defensively, if we can stop the run and turn, Geno a little bit more one dimensional, it'll look similar to because they don't have truly dynamic wide receivers and the style of defense that we play. I think that will put a lot of stress on Geno and that Vegas offense. When CD went down, it changed the complexity of our game, just because now we don't have to focus on two dynamic receivers. We only got to focus on one. I still don't truly know what Tucker is. I don't know if he's enough to, beat press man coverage and game plan. And Thornton's a rookie, so I think if I was drawing this up or coming in with my first whiff at what a game plan would look like, I think it would be, hey, let's stuff this run and don't let Genty get off on us, and let's try to get them to where they actually, passing the ball, and we're gonna try to.
And that's what Carroll loves to do first, more than anything. And that's what Carroll likes to do more than anything is lead. If he can run downhill, he'll never stop running. So he would love to be able to establish that and kind of play off of that. But they haven't shown that they've been able to stay in the game doing it that way. I think for the Raiders, if they somehow are able to establish the run, I think if they are able to keep Geno clean and start to feature Bowers, see if he's healthy enough to do some damage in the middle, and then force y'all to have to change or tweak your defense to adjust, then that's the advantage. And then, you know, maybe they get a lead and then force Caleb or force Ben Johnson into a one-dimensional offense in which now you're playing into Max Crosby's hands and you're playing into the defense's hands. So to me, it looks like that's what it looks like. The Raiders don't have a great special team. I mean, Washington kind of ate them up last week. That's kind of how they lost the game with special teams there on the returns and stuff. So that's
not a punt return and a kick return, there. Right? Yeah, huge kick return and a punt return.
It just to me it looks like, and so that's what the themes were last week is kick returns, punt returns, kickoff blocks. I mean, field goal blocks. So I really think that for the Raiders to win, they're going to have to play a pretty efficient game. I know Geno's capable of making the plays, but they're going to have to get some turnovers, some negative plays out of Caleb. If they're going to play straight up and just go point for point, I don't think the Raiders can keep up. I just don't think they have the horses right now to be able to keep up. They're going to have to get some extra possessions out of it. Yep.
Yeah, and I will say this, you know, if we don't get home and get close to Geno, he will make some tight, you know, window throws in that man-to-man. So I think there's a layer of our pass rush.
He's legit. He's got a great arm.
He's got a great arm. So I think from that perspective, you know, we got to get some pressure on him to make him get rid of the ball a little quicker and not let him, you know, really get comfortable setting his feet and start to spin it on us a little bit. So get him behind the chains.
He will throw you one too.
I know. Yeah, he will throw you one. And we got to take advantage of it. Or, you know, sometimes you look up, man, and Geno, he'll shock you and play some really high-level football, kind of similar to Joe Flacco, man. They find ways, wily vets, to get it done. So,
give me your prediction. What do you think?
All right, I broke out, what was it? Bears 38-24 last week. So I didn't write it down. I think we go into Vegas, man. I think it's going to be a little bit of I think it's going to be a little bit of a little tougher game for us to stack on to what we're doing. So I'm going to go Bears 27, and I'm going to go Raiders 21. I think it's a little closer. I'm factoring in the West Coast trip and just, you know, going on the road.
27-21. I'm right there with you. I'm going to give the Raiders a due coming off of a loss that they're going to fight really hard. You know, this kind of feels like a turning point. It's like, man, if you want to stay alive, you gotta be careful. And the AFC is kind of wide open right now. I mean, right now the Ravens did not look good. Nobody in the NFC in the AFC South looks good except for, you know, Indy. You know, it's just. It's wide open, so I'm sure they're saying, hey, look, we're still in this thing. We still got a shot. So they're going to fight, but I just don't think they have the horses. So I'm going to say that Chicago wins, even though it's on the road and, you know, the home team gets 3 points. So I'm going to basically give it a 6-point win, but I said if Bears win by 3, you know, 27-24. And
gotcha.
and I'll say I'll give it that. So, but yeah, I mean, I was looking at the AFC in the general sense without an aside, man, and you got the Texans getting ready to play the Titans, and neither one of them got to win. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they both of them. You know, CJ Stroud, bro. We gonna have to have a whole nother conversation about CJ Stroud.
Hey, J. Lou, man, you know J. Lou.
When you were talking about comparing him,
J. Lou's been mad at me for about, you know, 6 months now. I've been calling the CJ's regression out. Have you seen the clips of him dribbling the basketball before the game? And I said, you know, he warms up dribbling the basketball. Yeah, I'll find it for you and send it to you. But when you're winning, all of that stuff kind of gets overlooked, right? And you start dropping some games and losing. Yeah. And, you know, you and I both played the game. if you walk out there and, we just prepared all week and we warming up, and what's the first thing we see is our quarterback dribbling the basketball on the football field. We like, what the hell is going on? So
Bro,
I do think,
the F over.
Right. So I do think there's some things going on behind the scenes in the Texans that haven't been said. But CJ Gardner, he just got released, right? So in-house, there's some that it might be burning, and we just can't see it because it all hadn't leaked out yet. But there's something going on in Houston that looks fishy.
Well, look, CJ Stroud got about 1 or 2 more games, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to ask the question. Did Carolina get it right after all?
Hey, I barely made it out the wedding, man, because I asked that question about 6 months ago. And Luke, I looked over my shoulder, man. Did Carolina win that? Did they get it right? And he touched my quarterback. He tried to little bro CJ after the Texans beat up on us, last year, where hey, come here, grabbing him by his collar. Man, you can't
touch up Caleb.
Hits. Yeah, he talking to my quarterback, man. Don't you put your hands on 18 and, try to little bro my quarterback. And since that moment, his demise has been sealed and delivered, and I love it. I hope the rest of his career goes down the drain, putting his hands on my quarterback, telling him
the NFL will humble you, bro.
Quickly.
Bro.
And with Micah,
it is a not for long league. I'm like, man.
Yeah, he was podcasting with Micah. They over, sumo wrestling and calling out all the teams who stink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he had a lot to say when he was riding high. So the league is the league. They don't forget. These guys are prideful, and I think he's going through the growing pains of what most young quarterbacks go through, which is a coaching change, right? They got rid of Slowick, and then now, you get some injuries and everything that was going his way. Like you said, you're getting those close games and you're winning them. Next season, you start dropping a few and your confidence shakes a little bit, and, you are where you are. His play he's been regressing. He's not
cool.
The quarterback that he was in his rookie year. And I think some of that is attributed to his habits. And I think a lot of that is attributed to him having to live up to expectations. When he came on the scene, there were no expectations, right? For him to carry a franchise at that moment, I would say.
Yeah.
So, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. No doubt. No.
All right, man. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Wrap this up today and
Cowboys,
cover the. Yeah, get to the big stuff. Packers, Cowboys. Real quick recap there. Preview of this one. You got the Green Bay Packers coming off of a loss, an upsetting loss to the Cleveland Browns, in which they were favored. Kind of blew that game. Another kicking game error, in which the Cleveland Browns were able to pull this out in the end with a field goal. And all of a sudden, the Packers are 2-1. They were riding high, looking like Super Bowl contenders, and then they kind of get a little bit of a reality check. But at the same time, they're going into Dallas, and they're ready to extract some revenge. I don't know why Micah Parsons is looking for revenge against Dallas. He's the one who asked for the trade. I don't know how all of a sudden the Cowboys became the villain here. He was the one who wanted to get traded. Didn't want to sign the contract, whatever. But the bottom line is, no love lost between those two. And, but I want to jump into the actual nuts and bolts of the game. There's a lot of backdrop and there's a lot of drama, and we're a content creator, so we like to talk about drama and all this other stuff,
right?
Contracts and all this other stuff. But the reality is these two teams need a win. The Cowboys got embarrassed in Chicago. They're coming home. And they're trying to get some home cooking and seeing if they can turn the corner. If I'm looking at the Cowboys defense, and they're going against the Packers offense, the bottom line is the Cowboys have struggled to marry the defensive front and their secondary with Eberflus's style of defense. They just are not on the same page. I mean, I don't know how the hell you got a defense as a cover two that's supposed to prevent the big play, and that's all the hell they give up is big plays. It's just weird when it comes down to it. So they're trying to clean this up and make some changes there. You're hoping that if you're a Dallas fan, you're hoping that Jadeveon Clowney coming into the fold gives you a little bit more punch up front and gives you some pressure. You're hoping that Mr. Deron Bland comes in on the secondary and gives you a little bit more coverage help. And I think that what they're probably going to do is for Dallas, you're probably going to look at Diggs, Bland, and Reddy Stewart as your slot guy. Okay.
Right.
Okay. And I think they're looking at those are the three best guys there, and then you're going to probably try to mix secondary guys and see if that can help provide a little bit of a punch between some some defensive edge pressure and a little bit better coverage in the secondary. And it looks like there's a couple of offensive linemen there for the Packers that's wounded and so forth. But maybe a change at help at linebacker. There may be a scenario where the Cowboys do some things like take Donovan Wilson and put him in the box because he's better there instead of having him in coverage. Marquise Bell, who had played linebacker for the Cowboys back when they had some injuries a couple of years ago. And he played at a good level down line. But how about putting him in on third long, the coverage linebacker, because if you end up trying to run it against him, he can still stop the run. So a couple of things that want to see what Dallas does on defense to tighten themselves a little bit better a chance there against the Packers. What do you see with the Packers offense?
Man, inconsistency, right? I think, unfortunately, I know the Packers a little bit too well than I probably would love to say. I keep a close eye on them just because of, it's a divisional foe and they're always in the mix. Yeah, LaFleur, again, high-level play caller, really, really great coach. I think he really has them prepared very well for every game that they play. It feels like offensively. They got the battering ram back there in Jacobs, at running back, who complements, kind of a no-name. I call them a no-name wide receiver group, but wide receiver by committee. A bunch of guys who Romeo Dubs, Dontavian Wicks, those guys, not huge names, but I really think they, play within that system where they get open. And then they got Golden, the kid out of Texas, who is like I don't see it. Yep. I think he's okay. I think Luther Burden is going to have a bigger career than him, and that might be the fan in me speaking, but he's in the mix. Yeah, I think he's in the mix of they try probably a little bit more physical. Burden's a little bit more physical, a little bit better built. Yeah. He feels a little bit more physical and a little bit more explosive to me, right? But at the end of the day, I think what you guys are going to see is LaFleur attack kind of similar to what Ben Johnson did, which is he's going to really try to challenge his secondary, right? And they on the flip side, I do think they do have the offensive line to run the football at you as well. You brought up a great point. Kind of leopard changes, kind of zebra changes stripes or whatever I'm trying to say. Flus is going to have to change some things, right? Yeah. That defense, what I'm seeing is a group of guys who don't believe in the system, right? And as bad as Flus was as a head coach in Chicago, defensively he had the guys to where they bought into his schematics defensively, right? And they played hard. They weren't out of position. And I think now we're getting a little bit too much freelancing, or it could be this piece. It might be a little not too complex. I think the intricacies of the eye discipline of a zone, you have to be on point, right? And I think Ben Johnson saw some things on tape with your linebackers where he can manipulate the safeties and the linebackers with a little bit of eye candy and motions. And, the thing about the zone, every time you flip the strength of the, formation with some short motions or quick burst motions, It changes your responsibilities. So it could just be them learning the defense and them catching up to, understanding what their responsibilities are, right? And LaFleur is going to challenge that just as much, if not more, than what Ben Johnson did. The question is, can Love, I watched the Cleveland game, man, and we got bad Love. He threw a terrible pick in that fourth quarter to kind of get, Cleveland
sure did
back up and running. And there's some games where they look unstoppable, and then you have a game, and I know Cleveland's defense is extreme. That pass rush is intense, right? They're a solid team. But I look at the talent that they have and the timing system. Those guys should be way further along to where they know how to, put up more than 10 points or so on offense. So originally I started that by saying, can Flus replicate a little bit of what Cleveland did, which is send some pressure, get up in these receivers' faces, make them make some tough catches, and try to be a little bit more physical. The lack of pass rush, and I know you're going to touch on that. It's a recipe for disaster against the Packers because LaFleur is too talented of a play caller to not, do anything to disrupt that. I'll put it that way. And as a Bears fan, I've seen it. Even when we had Khalil Mack, if we didn't get home, he understands how to attack defenses. So you guys are going to have to I'm almost say take a lot more risks and, get out of the what I call just sitting on your heels and guarding grass, right? Get the guys where they're not thinking as much and playing a little bit faster.
Playing faster is the key. You're correct. They talked about it in the press conferences this week, simplifying things, being a little bit more, or actually having a team meeting and talk the same. So actually going through it because it seems like there's some confusion there. So a couple of things there to clean it up because, you're going to lose some plays. You're going to give up some stuff. But to give up the big play in that against this type of defense, they should be forced to have to, throw underneath and stuff. And so if you're telling me you're giving it up underneath, that's fine. Okay, at least that's what the defense is built to do. So that's kind of par for the course. But to get beat over the top, it's just literally not, like you said, not buying in and not executing on a basic level. That has to change. So I'm at least want to start with that and hope that maybe Clowney draws enough attention to some of the other defensive ends can actually get off. The Cowboys are at the top 15 and top 13 in the league stopping the run. So I don't know if they're going to just line up and run it. So that's one thing. Maybe that can make them one-dimensional. But we'll see. We'll see. What do you think about the Packers defense and what they're gonna be trying to do on that end?
Well, the first thing I noticed, and Micah, they came out, even for myself, when we talked about it offline, just how explosive he looked and how great he looked. It looked like the epidural, whatever he's been taking, it looked like it wore off. He didn't look as spry. He didn't look as explosive, right? So that's good news for you guys. My perspective, kind of watching them. The defense they have now is opportunistic. They got McKinney on the back end, who's playing some good football. They lost Zaire Alexander, so they got a couple of kind of no name corners.
Very good
over
safety.
there. Yeah, they got Xavier McKinney. You got Nixon, and then you got McDuffie. And again, I wish CeeDee's injury. I heard he's flying to here I go with the rumors. I got to stay off X, man. He's flying to Germany to get platelet rejuvenation treatment to fly back by Sunday and be ready to play. And I heard another guy was holding the door open for him outside the facility. He had to help him in the car, and he won't be ready for another 3 years. So wherever we are on that end of the spectrum, I wish. I think both of those scenarios ends up with him not playing this week. But I wish he hadn't got hurt because you guys could take advantage of these corners, right? And even Cleveland, they didn't look great, against Green Bay offensively, but I
Yeah.
really think with Pickens and CD, you guys could have really, really taken advantage of that Green Bay secondary with
Yeah.
your offensive firepower in the passing game, and then Turpin,
Yeah.
to kind of accentuate it. So I'll say this, you got Van Ness, you got Parsons, and then you got, a pretty, what I call, again, opportunistic defense. They did it for 2 weeks. I'm not going to crown them to say they're the most, they the 2000 Ravens or the 85 Bears. I think if you guys come in with a game plan, it's going to be a lot of emotion in this game, right? So Micah, whatever he took week 1 and week 2, I'm sure he's going to get a double dose for this one, because he wants to come in and show, why he's worth what he was asking for. So my gut instinct tells me that you guys are going to come out and say, we're going to put you in situations where you got to defend the run. And I think that's where you guys really work best, right? Hard off the play action after you establish the run, tire them down a little bit, wear them down, which Cleveland was able to wear them down. Judkins and Cleveland, young rookie running back, ended up almost touching 100 yards. He got 96. I could easily see you guys replicating that on the ground and really, neutralizing what they do best, which is, getting after the passer and getting to that secondary and some what I call more timely and critical moments, right, where you can attack them.
Yeah, I liked it. Those are certainly some things that made sense there, and I see exactly that. If the offense is off and constantly behind the sticks, then you're playing right into their hands and their secondary and their pass rush with Van Ness and Gary.
Yeah.
And even Kalanka along with Parsons. But if you're able to attack their front and run the ball with any type of conviction and just stay ahead of the chains, you can use your tight ends. We got huge tight ends. Spanford is just 6'7", 270, right?
Man.
So you got him and Ferguson and Schoonmaker. Maybe you come up with one of those new.
He caught that ball from Milton.
Yeah.
And man,
you saw him catch. You saw him get it.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. He's one of those keys in the running game that's kind of silent there. Big, strong guy. So, maybe you put him on Parsons' side and you double up and run at him until you wear him down. Maybe go with a New England Patriots style, do two tight end type look and throw to the backside of the backfield. Then hit Pickens up top and something like that. You still got weapons, and you play a physical brand that where everyone's saying, look, just fight hard, play hard. Because Dak ain't going to miss if you give him some clean looks. So he's got the quarterback there. So I see something like that. They're not going to give Micah a chance to just tee off or nothing like that. So two things: the defense has to hang in there enough so that they're not getting blown out, and they can stay with that style. And as long as they can, they'll continue to do it. And they probably looked at Cleveland and said, "Look, we got a better offense than Cleveland does. If we can do that, we worse on defense, but maybe we can do it with controlling the offense." So I think that's where the Cowboys are going to stay when it comes down to that. Special teams, Green Bay's got a very solid kicking game. They seem to be okay there. We know how good the Cowboys kicking game can be and you're talking, and how good the Cowboys kicking game could be there. I don't see any nuggets particularly there, other than, hey, maybe Turpin can get a play and make something happen there on a kick return or something like that. Any particular nuggets on the Green Bay side? I didn't see anything particular. They got a good kicker. They're solid. It's an indoors game. It's in Dallas, so the weather won't be an issue there. So they're gonna be kicking on clean air.
Yeah, they're gonna throw again Matthew Golden out there, at punt returner. I think they got Nixon at kick returner. Two guys who, to me, they're unproven as far as truly explosive kick returners and punt returners. I think you guys can corral that. McManus, Been around the league. He's solid. I give you guys no pun intended the leg up with Aubrey, in that department with your field goal kickers.
Yeah.
So,
Touche.
nothing. Yeah, nothing there. I think the wild card, and this is a guy I want you to keep your eye on, is Cooper, kid out of Texas A&M. I really wanted him last year. This is his second year at linebacker. I know he went to special teams, but I'm backing up to the defense a little bit. He's a guy who I think is if the style that you just talked about playing, which is a little bit more physical style, it negates him too, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a sideline to sideline linebacker, and you want him leaning on some offensive linemen and not being able to use that speed.
He's a fast,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I like Adrian Cooper a lot. He was definitely on our board as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of what the way their defense is playing is pursuit, running fast, getting after you and stuff like that, and then they'll discourage you early from running because they're physical up front to stop the run early. But you got to be patient and be when we got two offensive linemen out. I mean, we're giving every advantage you can give them. Because I would love to have our offensive line, healthy and whole. I mean, we got some dudes up front, man. We really do. Those dudes can really, really run block really well with Clayton Adams. So don't have that, but we'll see how that plays out. We talked about the special teams. You got coaching. You got Matt LaFleur. And Shoddy going. And so you got to see if Flus can take out LaFleur. But LaFleur's he's another one of those guys that comes from that coaching tree, and so you know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the McVay and the Shanahan coaching tree, and he's good with it. So he's pretty sharp with his play calls and stuff. So that I think that's going to be interesting. And of course with Schottenhammer calls a pretty good game as well there. So you see anything there? Obviously, to see if Flus can handle with the types of formations and so forth that frees up the receivers for LaFleur. I think the receivers really benefit the most from those play calls. The way he executes the offense, and if you can, I think that's the thing Flus has got to deal with is that right there.
Yeah, LaFleur comes with a lot of eye candy and a lot of what I call the pre-snap motions, and again, they're going to test your defensive your responsibility discipline quite a bit pre-snap. And they also they test your physicality with Jacobs too. So that's a unique offense that you guys are dealing with. From a coaching standpoint, this is one
really good.
From a coaching standpoint, this is one where I really feel like Flus is going to have to not resist the urge to get to change too much, right? I think oftentimes when a game doesn't go your way, you try to flip and change a whole bunch of things. I don't think you guys need to do that. I just think you need to get more sound in what you're doing. So Flus is, again, historically has been a great calming force when it comes to getting his defenses to play sound football. When I look at you guys schematically and what you're doing, you're not far off, right? There's the big plays that you're giving up are guys either one, not trusting the system, or two, trying to do a little bit too much. And this is where, Flus can talk to, if he can get that defense to lock in this week and really just be assignment sound, right? Don't get out of your gaps. Don't cheat me on your coverage. Don't cheat me on your fundamentals, because that defense is almost, it's almost, again, a basketball analogy. It's like a guy out of position in a 2-3 zone, right? You got four of the guys doing exactly what needs to happen, and you're trusting that this guy, everybody's going to be doing their certain responsibilities. And then you get a safety who peaks. You get a corner who misses a jam. You get a linebacker who misses a key, and it throws that Tampa 2 off. And the whole point of that defense is to, and that's why I know it's not just the Fluke's being a bad teacher, because at the end of the day, that defense is designed not to give up big plays, and that's exactly what it's doing. So that tells me you either don't understand it or you don't trust it. And he just has to be able to get the defense to believe we're going to give up plays, and it's counterintuitive, because you're basically umbrelling the offense and letting it happen in front of you, and you're banking on some negative plays, a holding, a pass breakup, a ball pops in the air, you intercept it, and you guys are coming from a very aggressive coordinator with Quinn. You guys are coming from a very aggressive style DB coach, and Zimmer and Al Harris, and I really think it's the style. And as my observation, it's almost like, having one coach where we do everything, aggressive, and then Flus comes in and it's the total opposite. And you sit back and you're like, man, I don't know if I'm feeling this, man, watching guys, buzz in front of me and catch a ball, and you just want me to come up and tackle them instead of me going up and trying to, make some plays. So long-winded way of saying Flus needs to trust and get the guys to trust in what you're doing. Don't switch up too much. Don't get too crazy, because it's going to look worse if you go in there with exotic, crazy blitzes and they catch you out of the gap. And LaFleur will take advantage of that immediately. And it's not even post-snap. He's going to see it and test it pre-snap, and you'll lose the play, before it even starts, because he'll get you out of your gaps.
Man, it don't look good, bro. I'm sitting there. I'm trying to do the math on this thing, bro. It's just this one's gonna be tough, man. So listen. You tell me, what does it look like?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Packers win if what?
I think the Packers win if they stop the run for the Cowboys and they get you into known passing situations and and flip you and make you one-sided. I think they win if they can let that pass rush. If they can unleash a pass rush on you, I think that spells disaster for you guys.
Okay. For the Cowboys to win this game, they're going to have to control the line of scrimmage.
Right.
They just have to control the line of scrimmage and make this a black and blue type of game, and make it ugly, physical up front, pass when you want to pass, maybe get the tight ends involved and get some physical stuff, and then go up top with either Turpin or Pickens once you kind of get the defense sucked in. There's some yards and some plays to be had down the field. And then play to your strengths. You got a field goal kicker that can pretty much make it from anywhere from 50, 55 out in at all times. Make sure you get 3 every time. I know it's not as good as 7, but it is hard to pull away from a team if they're scoring every time they get the ball. Right. So do those things and give yourself a chance. And maybe by the end of the game in the fourth quarter, the dam breaks from all of the physical of the first 3 quarters, and now you can have your way, and then you can get your points and finish the game. I think that's the best way I can see it. So give me a prediction score.
Yeah, the style I would love to see you play is let's fight it out in the phone booth, right? Cleveland did something similar. Let's muddy it up. Let's stand toe to toe. We're gonna punch each other in the nose, and somebody gonna flinch. And hopefully it'll be the Packers. I got Cowboys winning. It's going to be an emotional game. We didn't talk about the emotional layer of this whole thing. You guys are coming off a bad loss. You want to you have pride. You want to see that fixed. You're coming back home, which is great. And you got a huge emotional. We made the right decision by letting Micah go. So I expect you guys to be locked in. I think offensively you're gonna do well. I'm gonna give you guys, and this sounds crazy, I'm going shootout. I'm gonna give you guys Cowboys 38, Green Bay 27.
One more time. Say it again.
I'm going Cowboys 38, Green Bay 27.
38-27.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this game. I'm looking at all the different components and stuff like that. And I do think that the Cowboys can win this game. I do think that the Cowboys have the ability to win this game. I do want the Cowboys to win this game. I do not think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to fall short. I think the fact the Packers are favored by 7 points, which is a big number on the road. A 7 point, home dog with a Pro Bowl quarterback is a big number. Like that almost never happens with a quarterback when you're going up against a quarterback like that. But I'm going to give it to Green Bay. They're going to win by 4 points. 4 points, and I'm going to say 35 to 31.
35-31. Okay.
35 to 31. Yep. So
yeah,
and that will put us down to 1-6, or 1-3.
1-3. I need you. So at the end of the day, man, we need to muster up some fight. I got my lucky dice. I'm blowing on them. I'm shaking them. I don't care what Vegas says. We don't care about all of that. We going to break Vegas. So I know my wife and I know she loves to take risks, and she gets on me all the time. Hey, we're gonna gamble a little bit. I'm gambling. I'm going Green Bay. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going Dallas. I see you guys pulling this thing out and playing some good football at home. And writing this thing and kind of quieting the noise. I sent you a text and I was just like, the media cycle is so, it's so game to game now, where if you win, you're going to the Super Bowl and you can't be stopped. And if you lose, you're the worst team that's ever been created. And the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. The team that you faced last week was a Bears team that was completely desperate, and also a team that was a little bit, and I had the faith in us because I knew Detroit and Minnesota are going to do what they did to us, to a lot of people, right? And we might just be the loss for you guys. And you tell me all the time, right, man? And we have all these, microwave opinions in the first half of the season, the first quarter of the season. And by the time we get to week 15, week 16, week 17, all of those narratives have either flipped or shifted or changed. And you like, what, that win and that we thought was so great in week 3, that was the Saints, when the way they played against you guys to where they ended to, now we look at Detroit and you look at, Minnesota, and you look at, the Eagles and some of these teams and the Chiefs, and we don't know where everybody's going to land just yet. We have some general ideas, but for the fringe teams that are kind of finding their way, I think the Bears are going to be one of the teams that are, and you said it yourself, like, I'm glad we were playing us early, because you were worried about us,
be better late than early,
ascending towards the end of the season. And I think the loss that you guys had against us is going to look a lot better towards the end of the year, and it won't look as bad, because we should be playing at least 500 football, right, and flirting with trying to get in the playoffs if I think, it lands where I think it will. The things that CD going out, huge unfortunate injury that flipped our game to where it made it look a lot worse than what it really was, right? And even with all of that, you guys were still there. Had Pickens. It wasn't like we were right there to influence Pickens and dropping that ball. It was just an unforced error that we took advantage of that kind of, blew that game open. So, the league is cruel in that way, man. Sometimes your losses feel so much worse than what they really are, because a few plays flip the tide of a game. And, when you guys play Green Bay, I think there's going to be some situations where Love is he's feeling some heat too, right? He hasn't been playing great football. There's some pressure on him, and he can, airmail some football. He can make some crazy decisions. So I'm just not sold that the Packers are just going to walk in and beat you by 7. And I know Vegas gets it right a lot, but I don't care. I'm in Vegas. We Vegas busting. We going against all of that. I got my Cowboys. I got my star.
Yeah.
I gotta get. You gotta send me a hat or something, man.
Vegas had
jersey.
Vegas had Dallas winning last week.
Yeah. So I gotta get me a jersey made.
Vegas had Dallas winning last week. So I mean that was way off.
Yeah. I'm gonna get me my Bears jersey in the front, my Dallas jersey in the back, reversible, whatever it is. I'm gonna flip it, turn it inside out. Because I need my division as cluttered and muddled up as I can get it, man. Because Minnesota, these guys have snuck out again on us, and Detroit, oh my goodness, man, they had a statement win.
Yeah,
so
man.
I need
now
they
got the fighting Carson Wentz's though. Yep. Well,
fighting Wentz's.
Well, this was great as always. We covered quite a bit of content, and this was really, 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 really good. Looking forward to it. Safe travels for you. I certainly can't wait to see some of the video footage and stuff from this weekend. With the big game there. Once again, Vegas to the West Coast, out in my territory, to challenge the Vegas Raiders. And that should be a very fun game, an exciting game there. So I'm looking forward to all of this and all of the fun. Thank you, this afternoon, this evening. If you like this content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe on all of your platforms. But we are broadcasting on YouTube. And so therefore, if you can subscribe there, then you certainly will be able to get notifications. So for now, we will wrap up this evening's show. Certainly appreciate you having us and being on with us tonight. Once again, for the H&M Sports Academy. This is Harry, and we're signing off. Have a great night.